Welcome to today's session. In this tutorial, we'll be building a revenue performance overview dashboard in Power BI, covering 2019 to 2022. At the top, we have our KPI card showing total revenue, total units sold, average transaction value, and average selling price, each compared against the previous year. Below, we can quickly see revenue trends over time, revenue by product type, and even the top 5 mobile or accessory categories driving the most sales. We also use a decomposition tree to drill deeper into total revenue and a stacked bar chart to see how different payment types contribute each quarter. This is the dashboard we'll create step by step today, learning how to design, format, and bring data to life in Power BI. Let's start by creating a KPI visual card. You could use the standard card, but it doesn't allow multiple data points, which would mean creating several cards, and we want to avoid that. Instead, scroll down and select New Card to create a single card for all your data. Next, add your measures. In this example, we'll include our base metrics, total units sold, total revenue, average transaction value, and average selling value. You can add each measure directly from the Suggest a Visual option or click Build to manually add them. To do this, click Add Data, open the measure table, go to Base Measures, and select all the measures. The new card visual automatically combines all 4 measures into a single display. As you can see, some of the cards are not fully visible. To fix this, go to Format, then select Layout, and adjust the number of cards to match the total you have. Once you do that, all your cards will be visible. Next, you can resize the cards to adjust the spacing according to your layout preference. Once the spacing looks right, we'll make some adjustments to the labels. For example, since the transaction value label is too long, we'll shorten it to average transaction value to make it cleaner and easier to read. Similarly, for the average selling price, we'll simplify it by reducing it to average selling price, which keeps the card neat while still being clear. Now that the average transaction value and average selling price labels are looking better and not too long, let's move on to improving the overall readability of our cards. First, resize the values by setting the font size to 15. Then, adjust the labels by setting their font size to 11 for better visibility. To refine spacing, go to Layout, and under Space between cards, increase it to around 15, which works well. Finally, we'll add more details to our KPIs. To do this, go to Format, then select Reference Labels, then add a label. So, for example, for total revenue, we will add previous year. Click Add Data and then select Time Intelligence, open Revenue, and select PY Measures. This is how I calculated the DAX for previous year, then for year-over-year growth here is the DAX, and then we also have year-over-year growth combined, which checks the selected year from the year slicer. So, for example, if we select 2019, the measure compares the revenue in 2019 with the revenue from the previous year, 2018. When no specific year is selected, the measure instead uses PY as a placeholder, so it still shows the growth percentage even without choosing a particular year. Since we've already added the previous year, we now need to format it so it looks more appealing. To do this, go back to Reference, where we selected the previous year, then click Select Label and choose Previous Year Revenue. Next, go to Title Content, switch it to Custom, and change the title to PY. After that, increase the size for better visibility. But before that, make sure the reference label setting is applied to all, and then adjust the title, value, and detail size to 12. For consistency, set the transparency to 0 across all of them. Finally, when you go back to total revenue, you'll see that the label is already applied, so everything is set. Under the PY label, we need to add data in the detail section. Here, we'll add the year-over-year growth combined measure. Once added, you'll see that our sales display shows how the current year performed compared to the previous year. You might notice the previous year text is shown here even if we haven't selected a specific year. That's because no year has been filtered yet, so it displays a comparison by default. For example, if we select 2019 in the year slicer, it will then show 2018 as the previous year for comparison. We also need to add reference labels for units sold. Start by selecting it from the series, then click Add Label. Once the label options open, go to Measure Label, navigate to Time Intelligence, open Units Sold, and select Previous Year. Under Selected Label, choose Previous Year Sold. Then, in the Title section, change the content to Custom, and rename it to PY. Then, in the Details section, add the year-over-year growth for units combined under Units Sold folder under Time Intelligence. Next, scroll up to Reference Labels and select Average Transaction Value. Click Add Label and under Time Intelligence open ATV and choose Previous Year. Then select the label and under Title, select Custom and change the title to PY. After that, scroll down to the Details section and add the year-over-year growth combined measure for ATV. Finally, labels for Average Selling Price, ASP. Click Add Label, go to Time Intelligence, open ASP, and select Previous Year ASP. Change title to PY by setting the content to Custom. Next, scroll down to the Details section and add the year-over-year growth combined measure for ASP. As you can see, the reference labels currently have a background color. To remove it, first set Select Series to All under Reference Labels. Then, scroll down to the Details section and increase the transparency to 100%. Now the cards look more detailed. We can also add icons next to each KPI using the Image section. First, make sure you have selected the new card visual. Then, go to Format and scroll down to Images. Click on it and turn it on. Since we have 4 cards, to make positioning easier, set all series to left, adjust the space between image and labels to 15, and set the image size to 40. Next, scroll up to Series, open it, and select Total Revenue. Under Image Type, select Image, click Browse, and choose the revenue icon from where you saved it. The icon will then appear on the KPI card. To explain how I created the icon, I used PowerPoint. Go to Insert Icons, wait a moment, then search for something like Money, select the icon, and click Insert. You can then format it by changing the fill color, adding a shape, like a rounded rectangle, behind it, sending the shape to the back, removing the outline, and setting transparency to around 70%. Once the icon is ready, return to Power BI and insert it on the KPI card as described. To add the next icon, select the card visual, then go to Format and scroll down to Images. Under Series, select Units Sold, change Image Type to Image, and click Browse to add the corresponding icon. Repeat the same process for the remaining 2 KPI measures to ensure all cards have their respective icons. We can now add a year slicer. Click the visual pane and select New Slicer Card. Add data by going to the Dim Date table and selecting the year column. Next, and under Layout, set arrangement to single row and maximum row cards to 5. Since we are comparing years from 2019 to 2022, right-click 2018 and select Exclude. Now, as you select each year, you'll notice the previous year values appearing on our reference labels. Continue formatting the year visual by turning off the title. Under Callout Values, select Series Selected and set the font color to white. Reduce the width to fit the year slicer neatly on top. Scroll down to the Button section and turn Fill off for all series. Turn on the accent bar, resize the slicer, and under Callout Values All Selected, set the alignment to center. Finally, place the year slicer on top of the KPI card visuals, aligned to the right. Now that the first section of the report is complete, including all KPI cards and slicer, we can move on to creating the visuals. The next step is to understand how our revenue has been performing over time. To do this, we'll create a line chart. Select the line chart visual. Then on the x-axis add month by clicking on Add Data, then under Dimensional Date Table select Month, and on the y-axis add the measure Total Revenue. This will give us a clear view of revenue trends over time. Then, resize and align the line chart for better visibility. Next, let's build a rounded column chart. To format it, open the Format pane. Under Title, rename it to Revenue Over Time, and just next to Title or under it, reduce its font size to 10 for a cleaner look. Now, let's style it further. Scroll down and enable error bars. Just a note that we will not turn the data labels on Rater. We will not turn off the y-axis values. When under error bars, make sure total revenue is selected, then set the upper bound to total revenue and the lower bound to 0. This is how I created the lower bound, which is equal to 0. It ensures the bar starts from the axis baseline. Go back to formatting and then scroll down to error bar section and turn off the markers, then open the bar and set the width to 10, which is the maximum we have for now. Reduce border size to 0. Then, scroll up to the markers section near data labels, open and turn on to show all categories, set the shape to circle and set size to 6. Open the color, click more colors and copy the color. Then scroll down to error bars section and change the bar color to the one we copied from the markers color. Then scroll up and underline section. Turn it off, then open gridline and turn them off. That's one of the ways to create rounded column chart on Power BI. And as we select each year on the year slicer, we can see the rounded column chart update accordingly. Next, we will build a donut chart to understand how different product types are performing in terms of revenue. To add the donut chart, click the donut chart visual. On the legend, add product type by searching for it on the data. Under values, add total revenue. You can just click on it and it will be added automatically. Once the data is added, close the pane and adjust the chart to fit the desired area. You can use the horizontal and vertical alignment to ensure it lines up nicely with other visuals. For the title, reduce the font size to 10. You can adjust the default title text like total by removing it. Then close the title section and open the slicer section, and under spacing, adjust the spacing for the slicer if needed, making the inner radius slightly smaller, which makes the donut chart look professional. If some product types are not visible on the chart, go to rotation and adjust it until all categories are displayed clearly. Then after setting the rotation, check from the slicer if all values are showing and fit. Next, add more details to the detail labels. Set them to display outside, and include both data value and percentage of total. Then, go back to the legend, turn it on, and set the position to top right. Increase the text size to 9. Finally, go back to the title, scroll down to spacing, and reduce it to 0 for a cleaner look. Now, the donut chart is ready, and we can clearly see how each product is performing in terms of revenue. For example, mobile has the highest revenue, followed by accessories, and then tablet. Next, we'll analyze how different types of accessories or mobile are performing in terms of revenue using a clustered bar chart. Start by selecting the clustered bar chart visual. Add type of accessory or mobile to the y-axis and total revenue, from our base measures, to the x-axis. Place the chart and adjust it so it fits nicely within your layout. We want to focus on the top 5 types of accessories or mobile. To do this, go to the Filters pane, select Type of Accessory Mobile, then choose Top N, enter 5, and under By Value, drag Total Revenue. Click Apply to display only the top 5 items generating the most revenue. Next, format the chart. Under X-axis, remove the default values. For the title, remove total and reduce the font size to 10. Scroll down and turn on data labels, set them to display outside, and ensure they are visible above the bars. As you can see, the y-axis values are not displaying properly. To fix this, we can do it into 2 ways. First, on y-axis, we can increase the width, but this means that the bars will be a bit smaller, but since our values looks okay still, it's a good approach. But what if we apply the second step? We can create a product label measure. This measure allows the product names to appear above the bars as titles. I also created a DAX where title is equal to 0. This DAX will help us to be able to place the labels on y-axis above the bar. Add the title measure on the x-axis under the total revenue. As you can see, the values are under the bar chart. Drag the title to position above the total revenue bars, and it will display clearly. As you can see, now the title is above the bar. To add the y-axis labels above the bar due to data labels, then select the title and scroll down to value the under the field change from title by clicking the arrow and select the product label name. As you can see, the labels appear above the bars. Finally, remove the legend and unnecessary axis values, then sort the chart by total revenue so the highest performing items appear first. Now, as you select different years in the year slicer, the chart dynamically updates to reflect revenue for the top 5 accessories or mobiles, and this is the second way to create labels above the bar for visibility. Now, let's take our analysis a step further by using the decomposition tree to drill down into revenue and understand which product types and accessories or mobiles are performing well and which ones are not. To add it decomposition tree, go the Visuals S on home page and scroll down to the AI Visuals section and select the decomposition tree. Then, resize it to ensure it fits. Go ahead and add data by setting the Analyze field to total revenue from our base measures. Then, under Explain By, add product type and type of accessory. Click the plus symbol button on the tree to expand by product type. You'll immediately see that mobile dominates, followed by accessories, and then tablets. If we drill further into accessories, the tree shows details such as Galaxy Watch cover and charger as top performers. On the other end, items like data cables show much lower revenue contribution. Similarly, if you expand mobile or tablet, you can quickly see which subcategories brought in the most revenue and which underperformed. Next, let's improve the formatting so the tree looks cleaner. Under Tree, set the density to dense. Collapse the default expansion so it's easier to navigate. Under Connectors, change the selected line color but not a must. Then under Bars, adjust the bar size, set the scale to level maximum and size to 150%, which is the maximum, so the revenue bars stand out more clearly. For values, increase the font size to 10. For category labels, increase the size slightly to 11 for better visibility. You can also italicize the selected node subtitle to highlight the current drill-down focus. Now the tree is clear and easy to read. From this visualization, we can quickly understand, for example, that luxury phones brought in the lowest revenue within mobiles, while certain accessories dominated the accessories category. This gives us a powerful way to break down revenue step by step and uncover hidden insights. The next step is to analyze how our revenue was performing across different quarters and payment types. To do this, we will build a stacked bar chart. From the Visualizations pane, click on the stacked bar chart. For the y-axis, we will add the quarter from our date table, and for the x-axis, we will add our total revenue measure. Finally, under the legend, we will add payment type. Now our chart displays revenue by quarter, broken down by each payment type. This makes it easy to see the contribution of each payment method across different quarters. The larger sections of the bars clearly show which payment type dominated in a particular period. As you can see, some data labels are showing, and those are the totals for all quarters, and thus we understand how much each quarter revenue was. Next, we will format the chart to make it more presentable. First, under the x-axis, we will turn off the values since they are not necessary. Then we will turn on the data labels and increase their size to around 11 for better visibility. Then on bars, we will go to Layout and adjust the space between series to about 2% and also the space between categories to 35%, making the bars appear closer together. Although Power BI gives us the option to turn on the ribbon style, we will leave it off here for a cleaner look. Under Totals, we will also increase the font size to around 9. With these changes, the chart is much easier to interpret. We can now see at a glance how revenue was spread across payment types for each quarter. From the visualization, it is clear that Quarter 3 contributed the highest revenue overall, with payment types like mobile money and credit card leading the way. For the final step, we will add a title and logo to complete our report dashboard. To begin, we insert a simple logo for our smartphone retail dataset. Go to the Insert tab, click on Image, select the logo file, and then click Open. Once it appears, reduce its size and drag it into position. We will place it neatly at the top, above our KPI card, so that it looks well aligned. Next, we will add a title for the dashboard. To do this, click on the rounded rectangle shape and place it at the top. Under Shape Style, turn on the text option, then type in our title, Revenue Performance Overview. We will format it by changing the text color to white, increasing the font size to 24, and setting the font family to Arial Black for a bold, clean look. To provide more context, we will also include the time frame, 2019 to 2022, next to the title. Finally, we will adjust the placement and size so that everything aligns neatly. To give the title bar a clean appearance, we turn off the shape fill, then turn on the background and visual border for a subtle framing effect. With these adjustments, our dashboard is now complete.